Okay, so here we are with another Mcfarlane Toys Digital DC Direct Multiverse unboxing. God, these names are unwieldy. Like, there should just be one 7-inch line of DC figures, and it should just be called DC Multiverse. And I shouldn't have to deal with, like, having to call it, oh, this is a Page Punchers, oh, this is Mcfarlane Digital. No, it should just all be DC Multiverse. I consider them all DC Multiverse. I don't care what kind of sublines you want to do with this. If it's a 7-inch figure, it's a DC Multiverse. It's like we're towards the tail end of Mcfarlane anyway, so I'm probably just shouting into the void as far as that's concerned. But Mattel, take note. Just every time you do a scale, that's the line. Your 3 3/4 inch figures, your 6-inch figures, your 7-inch figures, your 12-inch figures. Don't have like 15 kinds of 7-inch figures. It's not necessary. So, those of you who watched my last episode, in which I unboxed, God, Golden Age Flash and Superpowers, and I was thinking about opening up that Fleischer Superman, which I'm really looking forward to opening. But Captain Half Fun was in that stream, and we're going to do a stream at some point in the near future, hopefully the near future. And he's like, "Oh, I have that one. We can open it on that stream." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I guess I'm not, I'm not gonna do that one then." So then I started to try to think about what other figure I could do, and I remembered, hey, I got this guy sitting around. I can go ahead and open him up. So this is Superman from Our Worlds at War. You can see he's got a black shield on his Superman emblem because in the Our Worlds at War storyline, there was a lot of death and destruction, and like they killed off Jonathan Kent again, but he turned out to get better later on. He didn't stay dead. So yeah, he was wearing a black shield for mourning. I think in real life, what happened was the Kingdom Come comic book came out, and he had a black shield on his emblem in that version, and they just thought it looked cool, so they decided to do it in the mainstream comics for a little bit. It didn't last too long. I think maybe like a year, maybe less. But eventually they got back to the traditional yellow shield on the emblem. But yeah, you can see he comes with an eagle and some extra hands. And here's the piece of artwork on the back, which looks to me to be Ed McGuinness, which makes sense because he was the main artist on Superman at that time. Let's go ahead and open it up since we've been over this type of packaging before. We don't really need to talk about it again. So go ahead and get on it. So, but yeah, I've had this one for a while. I've been meaning to open it for a while. A lot of stuff been piling up lately, and this one does reuse the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns Superman buck. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. Got the trading cards in here, which have kind of slid all over the place. Oh, and it is on the same bubble as the figure stand. So I can go ahead and open that up. As far as I'm concerned, every figure should come with a figure stand. And Mcfarlane's usually pretty good about that with their 7-inch stuff. Not so much with superpowers, but with the 7-inch stuff, I almost always get a figure stand. And I do wish that these had the DC logo on there instead of the Spawn logo. I know that's the emblem of Mcfarlane Toys also, but he's not a DC character, so he doesn't belong on a DC figure stand. I'm sorry. So we got the Mcfarlane Code digital thing, and here's the trading card with the same piece of artwork as on the back of the package. And this is what the back of the trading card looks like, and it reads, Superman, Mcfarlane Toys Digital, real name Kal-El Clark Kent. The Man of Steel is not impervious to harm. He is weakened and will eventually die if exposed to kryptonite, radioactive remnants of his home world. He has no defense against magic, and his mind will succumb to the sufficient psionic assault. But his real vulnerability is dependence on yellow sun radiation. Deprived of it, he becomes a mere mortal. Yeah, that's how you want to define Superman, is by his weaknesses, Yeah, you don't want to mention any of his like superhuman powers or his desire to help his fellow man, or how he disguises himself as mild-mannered reporter Clark Kent, or any of that kind of stuff. None of that. Let's just talk about how to kill the guy. uh let's go ahead and get everything out of the package. So we've got a couple of hands here. They're kind of gripping, kind of gesturing hands. If you've opened the other two, if you see my videos on opening the other two Superman figures that are used on this book, you've already seen those hands before. What's new in this package is this eagle. He's a new thing. Let's go ahead and get him out of there. And he's a bald eagle. Truth, justice, and the American way, all that. Fans of the Golden Age Superman comics will remember a cover by God, who did that cover? Was it Fred Ray? Maybe, I think it might have been Fred Ray. It might have been his brother, but yeah, I got the eagle there, and that cover that had an eagle landing on Superman's arm. There's actually an Ed McGuinness drawing of Superman with this outfit, with the black shield and everything, with an eagle landing on his arm. I'm surprised they didn't use that for the artwork, since, I'm pretty sure that would have been the inspiration. So he's got his cape through the back here, like they usually do, so you got to kind of pull it through. He's got a black shield on the back of the cape, which I don't really like that so much. I don't mind the black shield on the front, like on the back of the background of the Superman symbol. That's okay, but having the black S on the cape, to me, there's not as much contrast between black and red. Like, if you see red in black and white film, it's going to look black. And they did the thing that Mcfarlane usually does, where the S is just like way too big. Like, you can see it's actually it's actually reaching the edge of the cape. Like, on one side it's reaching the edge of the cape all but a hair, and the other side it's reaching the edge of the cape except for maybe 3 or 4 hairs. So way too big. And he's got a new head sculpt, which is excellent. Looks just like Ed McGuinness's artwork. Very nicely done. Great job on that. And he's got a new emblem, which was one of my complaints about this guy. Is even though I thought the body type worked really well, surprisingly well, for the John Bogdanov. If I'm saying that right, I forget how to pronounce that. Bogdanov, I think is how he says it. I think that's right. But even though the body type I think works for that style of Superman, the emblem is totally the Frank Miller Superman. They probably should have done this emblem and put it on this figure way back then. So yeah, you can see that they share the same body type. And this is a 90s Superman, and this is an early 2000s Superman, late 90s, early 21st century. And here's an 80s Superman, Frank Miller himself. The original use of this buck was to make him look like Frank Miller's art style in Dark Knight Returns. And you can see that, it works pretty well for the Ed McGuinness version, too, since he's got that same sort of bulk. Max Games and Toys is here and says, Alan, friend, how are you? I'm doing just fine. I hope you're doing well. So also the way Ed McGuinness drew Superman's trunks, which was inspired by the Superman animated series, you can see that the trunks are colored in black with a little red highlight on the side there. And that is accurate to how Ed McGuinness drew Superman's trunks. He would draw them as black with a red highlight. That was inspired by the Superman animated series that was on television at the time. He thought it looked cool and decided to transfer it into the comic books. I also think it looks cool in the comic books, but I think they could have done a better job with it here. And what they really should have done is made it symmetrical and had another red highlight on the other side, because otherwise it just looks kind of off balance to me. And, you draw the red highlight on, whatever side. You sometimes both. What do I think of the new Superman movie? I'm trying not to. No, I saw that new trailer the other day, and there was the scene where Lois Lane was interviewing him, and he like she asks him like some tough questions, and he just starts like yelling at her, like not I raised my voice because we're having a heated conversation. I mean, actually yelling at her, like you know, like "Ah," like yelling, and I'm just like, that's not cool, man. Like you shouldn't yell at your girl like that. That's so that kind of turned me off. Like I don't like stuff like that. So, but yeah, like I wasn't really even a fan of rebooting the thing in the first place. So it was always going to be a hard sell for me. Like I really think they should have concluded the Henry Cavill arc before they did anything else. They should have given that a proper finale. They teased that he was coming back, and then they didn't do it, and that was really disappointing to me. So, it was always going to be an uphill battle to win me over on that movie, and they really haven't done anything to impress me. But like I said, I will admit that was always going to be an uphill battle. But I would not have had a problem with it if they'd have just done one more movie to wrap all that up. I mean, if you're not going to finish up the Superman story that I'm already invested in, why should I get invested in this new Superman story you're trying to sell me? You get me? Does that make any sense? Am I making sense here? Like, yeah, he goes from 1 to 100 in seconds. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And honestly, I don't see any reason that Superman should be yelling at Lois Lane. He's Superman. If he can't handle like his girlfriend asking him some tough questions, like I would say Ben Affleck's Batman would have been right about that version of Superman. I wouldn't trust that version either. I'm just saying, if there's your 1% chance right there. So yeah, I didn't think it would be possible to be disappointed in the trailer, but I was disappointed in it. So and there wasn't really anything else in it that like nothing really looked particularly like awesome about it. It all looked very sort of like almost like a CW show. And I know people keep saying that, and honestly, I kind of feel like that's an unfair comparison because like the Superman and Lois show they had on CW was probably better or it looked better to me. I enjoyed it more anyway, but that's just me. So I keep seeing people say that oh well, Snyder fans are just Snyder fans. They don't really read comics. They're not really fans of the character. No, I've been a fan of the character since like the 70s, since I was like, as long as I can remember, since like I was wearing Superman pajamas and getting up in the morning to watch Super Friends, and that saw the Christopher Reeve movie in the theater when I was a toddler. Always loved the character. But people will say Zack Snyder doesn't get Superman, and to which I say, no, Zack Snyder gets Superman just fine. You don't get Zack Snyder's Superman. That's what the problem is. So anyway, enough of that. We'll move on from that. But maybe I'll do a video talking more about my thoughts on Zack Snyder's Superman at another point, because I do really enjoy that version of the character. I mean, like my favorite live action version of the character, if I'm being real about it, is still the Christopher Reeve version. It's always going to be the Christopher Reeve version because that's what kind of defined the character to me when I was growing up. So it's not really even fair to expect any other version of Superman to compare to that one. That's the one that's the character in my mind. It's like you can't beat it. It's not possible. It's not fair to expect anybody to beat it. But there's been good versions in live action since. Like I said, I liked the Henry Cavill version. I like the Superman and Lois TV show. I like Smallville. I thought Brandon Routh was a good Superman, even though I wasn't really too crazy about that movie. It had some good parts to it, but overall, I wasn't like a huge fan of Superman Returns. So, but that's just my opinion. You know, uh, Max says, I can't understand why and all the social media point at the Henry Cavill stuff, and they all say David looks great. Yeah, well, that I think honestly they're just focused on the trunks. That's the only thing, because really every other thing about the suit, maybe the colors a little bit, but everything about the Henry Cavill suit pretty much came from like classic Superman media, except for they just put some more surface detail on it, and they took away the trunks. Which honestly, I kind of feel like it was a mistake to take away the trunks just because of like how strongly people reacted to it. I think it worked out fine in the movie. For again, I don't want to get too into the weeds on that, but I will do another video at some point where I kind of talk about my opinions on Henry Cavill's Superman. So, but for now, I'm going to get back to talking about this action figure. So, anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. So, Superman cannot look up very far. This is a very muscle-bound figure, so he's going to be kind of limited in how he moves. He can kind of tilt his head somewhat quizzically from side to side, and the head does rotate all the way around. The arms rotate all the way around, and they move up about that far. And they've got that kind of Mcfarlane butterfly joint in there where they can kind of move around this way and that way, and that's pretty cool. He's got kind of the typical Mcfarlane joint at the torso, so that can move around pretty well. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow that bends in about that far, straightens out about that far, rotates all the way around. But it's just a single joint of articulation. Like I said, this guy's kind of muscle bound. I don't know if double jointed elbows would help him anyway. He's got the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulations. The wrist rotates all the way around, and you can move it back and forth whichever way you want to. Very cool. I always like that. He's got the cool Mcfarlane waist articulation, so that can rotate all the way around, wobble this way, wobble that way, back and forth, all the way around. Very cool. He can kick up about that far, so actually his range of motion, as far as that goes, is surprisingly good. He can kind of rotate a little bit here, not all the way around, but kind of back and forth a little bit. He's got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. No boot cut, but he does have the cool Mcfarlane ankle articulation with the ball joints that rotate all the way around. Foot can point down about that far and point up about that far. Rotates all the way around where the foot meets the ankle and where the ankle meets the shin. So that's good. I always like that. And then he's got the toe articulation just to show off. Crazy toe articulation. If your toe moves like that, you probably want to go to the doctor because you probably just dislocated all your toes. So real quick, let's go ahead and compare once again to the other figures. And like I said, this is entirely the same mold as the Dark Knight Returns Superman, with the exception of the head and the emblem. Everything else exactly the same. And you can see it's a different paint scheme. He's got a slightly darker blue, about the same shade of red, about the same shade of yellow. And of course, he's got more black on his suit. Whereas the 90s version of Superman, who actually should have a darker blue, he should probably have at least a darker blue as this guy, I think, because that's how they drew him in the 90s. But yeah, we can see him back to back here. And unfortunately, he did not get a new emblem, which he really should have. But again, other than the emblem and the head sculpt, reuses all the same parts. So we've gotten this version of Superman like 3 times. And like I said, I'm pleasantly surprised at how well they've been able to adapt this Superman body to match other artists' designs. So this even though it's designed to be a Frank Miller Superman body, it is definitely like it definitely works as an Ed McGuinness Superman body. And I kind of hope like maybe before the line ends, they can get around to doing us an Ed McGuinness Batman at some point. I know they did an Ed McGuinness Bizarro, but Bat Zorro is what I meant to say. But yeah, like I don't know if they've got any plans to do like a regular Ed McGuinness Batman, but that would be really cool to see because I did really enjoy his Batman. And before I end this video, do a couple of things that I always like to do with superheroes. One, put them into that classic arms akimbo kind of pose with the fists at the waist, at the hips, however you want to phrase that. We'll get that going on. There we go. That's probably going to be the thumbnail right there. And last but not least, the classic Kurt Swan Superman flying pose. We gotta get him into that. And I was able to get his head wrenched up a little farther, so I guess I guess I didn't have it quite far enough, but maybe the joint was just too tight. But there, I got it kind of tightened up now. He doesn't have the squint that you typically think of the Ed McGuinness Superman as having, but it's kind of squinty enough, I think. And then we've got to kick this leg forward so we can get the true. Well, this joint's kind of stuck. There we go. So we can get that true Kurt Swan Superman pose. There we go. The classic Kurt Swan Superman flying pose. Straighten out that leg a little bit. Yeah. Anytime you can get that out of a Superman action figure is a good thing. So, and since he does have that eagle, I'm going to try to perch the eagle on his arm, but I don't know how possible that's going to be. Looking it over, it you can see that he's got like tiny little talons, and it's like you could maybe get it to balance on there, but you're going to have to work at it. There we go. Yeah, see, I did get it to kind of stay on there for a second, but it's not going to stay on there. So, it's a nice little piece to have the eagle, but I wish they have had some way to attach it, some way to maybe like a clip or something that a clip that would be removable from the eagle but could clip onto Superman's arm. I think would have been the best thing. Anyway, this is a great figure. I was able to pick it up cheap a while back on Amazon. I don't know what he's going for right now though, because it's been a while since I got him for like $17 because I found a good deal on Amazon. But it's been a while since then, so I don't know if you'd still be able to find them for cheap, or you'd have to pay like a higher price for them, unfortunately. But he's a pretty good figure. I'm glad to have him. I always like having one of the things I really liked about McFarlane's line is how they'll have different figures in the style of different artists, and I kind of feel like that's something that is nice to see. Unfortunately, with the line wrapping up, that means there's probably a lot that I won't see. Like I really wanted to see just like a pure Neil Adams Batman. Doesn't look like that's going to happen with Multiverse at this point. They've only got like about a year left on the license. They might surprise me. Who knows? That would be cool to see. I do kind of feel like we did get pretty close to Kurt Swan Superman with this one. At least I feel like the head sculpt is very Kurt Swan. He's got that nice kind of cheesy grin. I like that. That's a good sort of if they'd gotten the trunks right, if they'd given him new trunks with the not even the trunks are the problem, but it's the belt. If they'd given a more classic style belt, this would be like a pretty perfect Bronze Age Superman, I think. And speaking of Bronze Age Superman, I've got that the other one coming up, the new Silver Age Superman, but I feel like he's more of a Bronze Age Superman. So if you want to make sure you see that, make sure you like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Superman. He's only one of the greatest characters in the history of fiction. Oh, well, you're too late, Lone Dragon. Lone Dragon says, I'm here. You can start the unboxing now. He's well out of the packet. You missed the whole thing, man. Sorry, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Shane Maynard is here. Hey, he says beard looking good, bro. Well, thanks. Right back at you. Like, Shane's a friend of mine in real life, and I haven't seen him in a long time, but I hope he's doing well. I can put him back in the box. Nah, it doesn't work that way. You just got to go watch the video again from the beginning. Sorry. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this Superman. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff down below. I'm going to be back next episode with another McFarlane Multiverse figure, but I haven't decided which one yet. So next week, I'm not going to start now because I have to break it up. But next week I will be opening up those Flash villains at some point. Oh, we've got Max says, what do you think of what do you think is the best McFarlane Superman figure? Uh, we shall see. We shall see. Like it might be the one I'm about to open up next. It might be that one. So far, I think the best one that I've opened is the Earth 2 Superman. That's the one that I think is the best one so far. Shane says he's doing good, which I'm pleased to hear that. And you should come chill sometime. I probably should. Ain't nobody got time for that, says Lone Drag. Well, we try to make time when we can, but but yeah, like I'm sorry, man. I do these things when I do them. It's just like there's not really like a set schedule to it because my own schedule in real life is so hectic. I just kind of do these when I get a chance. So, but yeah, I'm glad to see everybody stop by. Glad that Lone Dragon was able to make it at the last, if not at all. Like better you showed up. Like better late than never, as they say. It's nice to see Shane again. Always nice to see Max Games and Toys. He's a cool dude. And is that everybody? Yeah, so I think that's everybody that popped in for the chat this time. But yeah, it was a good chat, and I enjoyed opening up this figure. I'll be back next episode. Why don't I do this guy? I think I'll do this guy. I have again kind of vaguely on the Superman theme. Lex Luthor, when he was filling the role of Superman, this is one I picked up cheap. And honestly, I mainly got this for the head because I was going to use it for a custom. But then I'm like, you know what? I really did like that run of Superman comics. So, yeah, right back at you, Max. So hopefully we will see you soon. But yeah, I think I'll open up him next. I think he'll be the next thing I open up. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.